Being in a toxic relationship sucks, but trying to recover from one can be even worse. You likely feel like you've lost yourself somewhere along the way. You're probably full of self-doubt and asking yourself things like, why did I stay for as long as I did? Or maybe you're berating yourself, how could I have let this happen? How could I have done this? And your goal now is to rediscover yourself, or really even discover yourself for the first time and find your footing again. But to do that, you got to get yourself grounded and balanced first. To really know all the top stuff of rediscovery, you got to get the foundation right. You've got to find a way to feel centered in yourself so you can listen to your inner guidance system and intuition. This way, you'll be able to take action with confidence and clarity and discover who you want to be now and make that happen. I'm Dr. Abby Medcalf, psychologist, best-selling author, and podcast host. I come out with new content every week to help you think differently so you can find that peace, joy, and connection you have been craving. So hit the subscribe button so you can start leveling up your life and your relationships today, right now. I always have quick wins every video, so you'll be able to make changes right away. Now, when you're grounded and balanced, like I was talking about, you're in control of you. That's what is so great about that. You can stop doubting yourself, focusing on your ex or feeling negative, anxious, or depressed. You stop judging yourself, and that is where you can start to rediscover yourself. And again, I don't even know if the re means again on the beginning of a word, right? So maybe it's just discovering yourself for the first time, depending on how long you were in this relationship, or how young you were when it happened, or if you've been in toxic relationship after toxic relationship, when you look back at the theme. So really, this is where you want to focus first. I promise this will get you there. So what do you have to do to rediscover yourself after a toxic relationship? Well, I have a 2-step plan. That's it. I want you to really focus on these 2 steps. Step 1 is going to sound strange, but it's the way to go. You're going to decide right now to be happy. Yeah, right now. Now, let me say first when I talk about happiness, what I'm talking about. I'm talking about experiencing positive emotions most of the time. Not all the time, obviously, because that's not life. So I'm talking about having a positive mood overall and feeling, optimistic about the future. And you could replace the word happiness with, contentment, satisfaction, flourishing, whatever floats your boat. I'm just going to use the word happy to mean sort of all those things as sort of a catch-all. And when it comes to happiness, you're likely not achieving it consistently because you're doing it backwards. I say that with love, but everybody does this. You either do things and set goals thinking you'll be happy on the other side. If I get this promotion, I'm going to be happy. If I could just find a new partner, I'm going to be happy. If I could just stop thinking about my ex, I'll be happy. Then my life will be great. Then. Or you might make happiness contingent on things outside of yourself that you can't control. If I could just forget about my ex, like I just said, right? If I could just forget about my ex, then I'll be happy. Well, and by the way, comment yes below if you've ever attained a goal and then realized it didn't make you happy long term. So you felt happy initially, but it didn't stick. And let me say more about that. And I want to talk about all kinds of goals right now. You want to save money, lose weight, get over your ex, get a new job, start exercising so you can be happier. That's what people think. I'm going to do these things and then on the other side. But you got it backwards. Being happy first will actually get you those things. If you want to stop thinking about your ex, if you want to get over this relationship, be happy first. And I want to be clear, this isn't some law of attraction thing. This is based on research. Okay, this is based on the research. There was what they call meta-analysis, where they take just about every scientific study ever on happiness. There were over 200 studies on 275,000 people worldwide, and researchers found that happiness leads to success. Happiness leads to the success you want, to the thing you're looking for, in nearly every domain, including your health, your work, your friends, your relationships, your energy level, even your creativity. Okay, so I really want you to think about this. So in other words, when you're happy, your health improves, you're more resilient, you've got more energy, and you're going to rediscover your true self after this doubt that's filled you since your ex, probably since they entered your life. Now, I'm not talking about, putting on a happy face and puppy dog tails and rainbows or, thinking positive. I'm talking about proven principles to change your life. I'm talking about the hard science of neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to rewire itself based on what you focus on and based on what maybe you practice. And I've talked about this before in other ways, but one of the more famous studies showing how you can literally change your brain's hardwiring was a study of London cabbies, what they call the black cabs there. And the streets in London, aren't based on a nice grid system like my hometown of New York, New York City, but they're a crazy maze. I don't know if you've been to London. It's amazing. It's extremely hard to learn and navigate. And it's so complicated that prospective cabbies have to take a test called the Knowledge before they're licensed. And when they study the brains of these experienced cab drivers, these licensed cab drivers, they found that their brains had a significantly larger hippocampus, which is the part of the brain devoted to spatial memory, like maps. So and there's so many studies like this, but your ability to rewire and change your brain is really supported by rigorous research in neuroscience. It's a fact. It's not something woo-woo or made up. It's not just that. So your brain changes by what you focus on, and it doesn't have to take years. It can happen in a matter of days. Yes, you can get over this relationship quicker than you think and find yourself in the process. So I want you to focus on how you feel every single day and all day long. So this is where the work is. How you feel day to day is the most important thing in your life. There's nothing more important. Feeling grounded and balanced will come easily from that place. And recently on my podcast, which is called Relationships Made Easy, I spoke about the importance of planning your feelings, just like you plan everything else in your life, right? You plan your schedule, you plan work, you plan what you're going to do, you plan events, but you can plan, let's say your wedding day. You can plan the most perfect wedding day, and it can go off without a hitch. But if you don't feel good that day, it doesn't matter. It don't matter. So planning your feelings, why don't we plan our feelings like we plan our time and our days? Let's do the same thing with our feelings. Let's plan how we're going to feel. And this is all about setting intention throughout the day. Now, I did a whole episode on the podcast on this, which I'll link below the video in the show notes if you really want to go deep down this road. It's a really very popular podcast episode on really how to do this all day long, how to really plan your feelings and how to stay in that more positive, intentional place. But really what you want to do is setting intention. That's what you're going to do throughout the day. And setting intention is so simple, but incredibly effective. And I'll link to a video I did on this below this video. It's called the 18-second pause, and I go deep into how to set intention. So definitely check that out. I don't want to use our time here, but setting intention all the time is your way to get there. Planning your feelings, planning how you're going to feel all day, setting that intention for that feeling all day long. That is the gold. So let's get to step 2. Step 2 is really simple too, but you got to do it. Wake up 5 minutes early every day. You're like, really, Abby? Yes, really. If you already have a morning practice, then you might not need to wake up any earlier. But for most folks who say things like, oh, I'm not a morning person, or I just can't do stuff in the morning, I call BS. Enough with that victim crap. No, you can. If you need to, you can. It's time to set the tone for each and every day, and you've got to do that first thing in the morning. Because here's the deal, here's the secret. When you wake up in the morning, you are the king or the queen of your momentum. Your momentum is the biggie here. So I talk about momentum a lot. If there's a car on top of a hill and it starts to roll and you want it to stop, is it better to try to stop it right at the top of the hill, or is it better to run down to the bottom and try to stop it there? It's not a trick question. Of course, it's crazy to try to stop it at the bottom. You're going to get mowed down. But that's what happens with your emotions all day, with your negative thinking. This momentum takes over. And what happens often for people is around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they've been letting their brain think about whatever it wants all day. And around 4, they realize they feel like crap and want to stop and are trying to stop that momentum. And it's really, really hard. Much easier to stop the momentum before it even starts. So when you sleep, all momentum ceases. You have that kind of fresh start when you wake up. So that is where you want to grab your day. That's why that's so important. That's why I don't care if you're a morning person or not. Whatever time you wake up, I want you to get up 5 minutes earlier to do what I'm going to tell you to do. First thing, so right when you open those eyes, those first thoughts and what you do with that time are crucial in setting up positive momentum for your day. That's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to really set the tone. So with those 5 minutes, I want you to sit in stillness, and I'm gonna want you to meditate. Now, hear me out, hear me out. I'm asking for 5 damn minutes. I'm gonna be all Jewish mother bossy right now and tell you that you just gotta do this, because it's seriously going to change your life and will make all that I'm teaching you, all this, so much easier. This is the easier way, believe it or not. 5 friggin' minutes, okay? So I'm going to hold your hand because I love you as you begin this process. And if you don't meditate, or if you find it really hard, or you just are like, how do I even start? I have a free, totally free, no strings attached, meditation starter kit. And it includes a track you can listen to with my melodious voice, holding your hand through. It's a 3-minute meditation. So I'm not even asking for 5 minutes out of the gate, okay? Once you get comfortable with that, we can move you to a whole 5 minutes, all right? And I know you're going to like it so much that you'll eventually even get to 15 minutes a day, which to me is the big, big goal. It's what I do. I meditate for 15 minutes a day. Despite all you might have heard, you do not have to do more than that. You really don't, to really reap incredible benefits. So, if you want to rediscover yourself, you've got to practice these 5 minutes of stillness a day. This is your best bang for your buck. Studies show that right after you meditate, you'll experience feelings of contentment and calm. In addition, meditation permanently rewires your brain to raise your feelings of happiness, that overall feeling, and lower your stress. Come on. These 2 steps that I just gave you, I know are very simple, but don't let that deceive you. These are techniques backed by the research and will absolutely have you feeling more balanced and grounded in no time. I've been doing this for over 30 years with people. I know of what I speak. These are the game changers that I give to people, the setting intention and the really getting into that, and really getting these 5 minutes down will absolutely have you able to really find yourself again, to really know who you are, to feel calm, to feel connected, to feel even enthusiastic and excited about your next relationship, because that's what I want for you. So if you found this helpful today, please share this video with someone you think it could help. Pass it on, and really allow yourself to really practice what I'm teaching you today and really change your life.